Very well, thanks. How are you?
Could be a bit better, mate.
Yeah?
Mate, I'm ringing up about an article that was in the Newcastle Morning Herald today, mate.
Yeah.
It's in relation to support for a church sex abuse inquiry. My problem is with it that the Victorian government have they're initiating a inquiry into the church sex abuse of historical abuse of children in the children's homes that were in church homes.
Right.
There's been over 40 suicides by victims at the hands of the churches in Victoria, highlighting the impact of failure to deal with historical sexual abuse. Now, Mr. David Shoebury just asked the Attorney General, Greg Smith, here in New South Wales to act on the government children act as well. And he's declined to support an inquiry. And he also asked, Premier Barrell, Premier Barry O'Farrell, for his government to come into an inquiry as well with the government children's homes. And Mr. O'Farrell's declined to make a comment on it. But we've got the independent Labor Quarry, Mr. Greg Piper, supporting an inquiry headed by a judge and possibly a royal commission rather than a parliamentary inquiry.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, the abuses that were happening in these children's homes, it wasn't just the churches that these crimes are happening. They're also happening in the government children's homes as well.
Yeah.
I can't understand why the New South Wales state government will not get behind the inquiry and jump on board with the inquiry as to the historical sexual abuse. Even though we got set up national apology and state apologies and said sorry to,
yes,
a lot of these perpetrators are still roaming free in society, untouched.
yes.
And still today, there are hundreds of thousands of victims. I'm a forgotten Australian myself. I laid the flowers for the lost innocents at the New South Wales State Apology on the 19th of September 2009. Now, where is, still to this day, the perpetrators that had abused, raped and sodomised me in a children's home, which was a state-run government children's home,
Yes.
have still not been held accountable for their crimes. And that file has been sitting on the Penrith Police Station shelf since 2003.
Yes.
Now, whereas the government's given us bits and pieces of our records, but they are not giving us the records that are proving where we were at the given times of where we've told our story of where we've been abused and who abused us and what they did to us.
Yes.
Now, the hurtful thing about it is that the state government is not wanting to fulfil or even step one iota into acknowledging or wanting to be held accountable for any of these crimes that have taken place.
Yeah.
And the other hurtful thing about it is that in Victoria, they're pushing for the churches to have this inquiry, but there has been nothing stipulated about the government children's homes until today's article that's in the Newcastle Herald.
Yeah, okay. Now, I haven't seen that article in the Newcastle Herald, so what is that article saying?
Well, I'll read it directly from you.
Well, I don't want it to take all day, so can you just summarise it for me?
No, it won't take all day. Calls for New South Wales to follow Victoria and hold a parliamentary inquiry into child sex abuse within the Catholic Church have received support from 100 Catholic priests, but no comment from the New South Wales government.
Yeah.
Lambton Priest Jeff Mulhern said he would support a reasonable process that helps us to reach the truth and leads to appropriate systematic change. The Greens MP and Justice spokesman David Shoebridge said an inquiry was necessary.
Yeah.
Mr. Shoebridge made the call because no one suggests that the sorry tale of sexual abuse by religious organisations is limited to that state. After Victoria announced an inquiry last week, the systematic mishandling of abuse claims by religious organisations over the last 50 years is a source of significant pain for victims and must be addressed, he said.
Yeah.
Reports of 40 suicides by victims of abuse at the hands of the churches in Victoria highlight the human impact of failing to deal
All right.
with the story.
All right, well, we get the message there, Michael, but I understand your concern that the New South Wales government is not prepared to even comment on the possibility of an inquiry, let alone agree to one. And quite frankly, the government ought to make at least some sort of statement in reply saying, well, yes, we are in favour of it, or no, we don't want an inquiry, and here's why we don't want an inquiry. They can't just sit there and say nothing, can they?
Well, this is what
Well, they shouldn't anyway.
Well, this is what they've been doing for the last 2.5 years. Right ever since the state apology.
Yeah, well, in that time span, there's been two different governments, to be fair. But if you want the new government to do something, I agree. They should at least respond to the calls for an inquiry with some sort of reply, either in favour of it or explaining why they're opposed to it.
Yeah, well, with the new government that's in power now, I have sent over 300 emails to every politician in New South Wales.
Really?
That we want justice for the crimes that happened to us and these children.
Yeah. Michael, when you say you want justice, what exactly are you interested in? You want to see individuals prosecuted? Is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. I think that's fair enough.
And the thing is that these perpetrators are getting away with the crimes by the government withholding certain parts of records that proves where children were at any given time.
Yeah.
They're only giving us certain parts of our records and saying, well, okay, you can have this bit, but we won't give you that bit because that is damning.
Okay, so who's saying that? When you say the government's withholding it, who's withholding it? Have you made application to have certain records released?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and
the records that I've been given are only portions of the records that I want.
So is that the Department of Community Services or what department?
That's DOCS, which is unapproved hours.
Yes.
And the responses I've got back from them is that, I'm sorry, this is all the information we have of you.
It may be that that's all they have.
No, they can't play on because, look, mate, every excursion that a child went on from the institutions, from the children's homes, were recorded in logbook.
I'm sure they were, but some of those records may have been lost over time.
Well, that's why they tried to play that game in Victoria, and the Ombudsman done a report in Victoria, and it was out last year as well, actually early this year, in March it was, that the government was paying $1 million a year to hold records dating back 150 years, right, that were in storage containers hidden away. So,
yes. But anything could have over that period of time. A lot of things could have happened to the records. They could actually no longer exist, or they may have been misplaced. They might still be in storage, but nobody knows where they are. All sorts of things could happen. So it may not necessarily be a simple matter of withholding records.
Okay, well, all right. Okay, now a punishment record logbook says it gets wrote in. If you tell an officer to go and get effed, right, it's wrote in the logbook.
Yeah.
Right? I've got one document from the children's homes where I've told the officer to go and get effed.
Yeah.
Right? But whereas they haven't got the record for when I got taken to another children's home and dragged back to a children's home.
Well, look, Michael, I can't explain that, but I do understand your concern, and I agree that at the very least, the government ought to make some sort of response and say, look, we're opposed to having an inquiry and here's why, although that would be most unsatisfactory. But, you know, at least they'd be saying something instead of just ignoring it. Preferably, they should say, well, yes, let's have an inquiry. Let's see if we can resolve some of these outstanding issues. Obviously, the apology was very important, but that's only part of the process, isn't it?
Would it be possible at any time that you could ask to even speak with Mr. O'Farrell about this, or
well, we can always ask.
Or Greg Smith?
We can always ask. We can always ask. We'll see what we can do.
Well, I really appreciate it.
All right, Michael.
This is serious, mate.
Well, it is. It is. If you want to put down some of your concerns in writing and email them in to me, do that.
Yeah.
You can do that at the John Laws email address or even to mine, which is easy to find.
Way back in 2001 and everything.
Yeah. Just a little one-page summation of your concerns, and we'll see if we can put it to those who are in charge. All right?
Yeah. Okay.
Good on you, Michael. Thanks for that. All the best. 13 12 69 is our number.
It all started when he penned that classic